Welcome to our show, Cowboys and Indian, the footballing show, where we talk football and banter. And basically, we've moved from pub to screen. We've got a cowboy missing today, which is our dear friend Stu, who's not well, on our debut show. But we have got Duggy. Duggy, do you want to give a quick shout out?
Good evening.
Right. So today's show and today's theme is all about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the current state of the Premiership. So, Dougie, you've seen the film Good, Bad, and Ugly?
Great film. I love any spaghetti western. Love them all.
But do you like spaghetti though?
No.
Right. Okay. So, with that said, let's have a look at the Premiership table and see what it's showing right now. So, as I said, the theme of the Dougie, I'm sure you can see it, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. So, just to as I said, we're looking at the table right now, and the teams that are obviously flying right now, and obviously the ones that are struggling, as much as our beloved West Ham. But the team that actually at the moment has caught everybody's eye is Forest. Dougie, what's your thoughts on Forest right now?
I think it's fantastic. Whether or not they're good enough to do a Leicester, I think some teams will have to take points off Liverpool, which I think is going to be really hard this year. I think without doubt they've probably got the strongest squad at the moment, Liverpool. But if you look at Forest, they're on 44 points. They're only 6 points behind Liverpool. What a resurgence in the old-fashioned type of striker that I love. Big old number 9. Probably beginning of the season. Yeah, no one would have probably wanted to buy Chris Woods. But they're doing quite well. They've got 34 goals for, 24 against. So really, they are playing well up front and in defence. And I think it's fantastic for Nuno. And I thought he'd do a good job anywhere. You know, he gets them playing good football. And you wouldn't think any of their players are what you would call household names, but they really, really are a good team. And the 1-1 draw with Liverpool a couple of weeks ago, I think just cemented that they're there, you know, on their results, not on luck.
No, absolutely. And you mentioned Nuno there as well, because Chris Woods, if I'm not mistaken, was at Newcastle last season. And he spent a lot of time on the bench. But Nuno to take Chris Woods and set up a formation that you know, where they're banging in the goals right now. And for if you was a Nottingham Forest fan right now, you'll be celebrating. You've got Woods' contracts being renegotiated right now. You've got Murillo, who's just signed a new extension. And I understand today, to show the clear ambition of Forest, they put an offer in from Wissa from Brentford and Kuna from Wolves. I mean, that's big balls, that is. That's ambition. What's your thoughts on that, Dougie?
You know, Sonny, I think it's fantastic. Like I've always said to you, the game of football for me is about the fans. As it slowly gets dragged away from what I call the hardcore fans, and we end up going towards television fans or corporate fans. It's a beautiful ground up there. I mean, they did get lost, I think, the season before last, when I think before they started, they signed about 28 players. It's when Lingard signed for them, didn't he? Luckily, looking back on it now, because he was more interested in the TikTok channel than he was playing football. But you're talking about a team that last won a trophy in 1990 when they won the League Cup. I've got to say I was cheering them on when they won the European Cup in 1979. The winning goal scored by the first ever £1 million player. Any ideas who that was, Tom?
I have no idea.
Trevor Francis. It was Trevor Francis.
Trevor Francis.
Yeah, I think it was John Robertson who flew down the line and he boshed the ball over, and Trevor Francis scored against Malmo. So yeah, they ain't won anything since 1990. No. And just true fans that go every week. Ask any true Nottingham Forest fan, do they believe they can win the league this year? Probably not, but mate, would it be amazing if they did a Leicester and won it? I know who I would be cheering to win the league if I could spare 50 pence. But unfortunately, I'm quite a very, very poor man.
Trevor, you mentioned Trevor Francis there, wasn't he? Didn't he play for Coventry as well?
No, I think he come from Leicester or Birmingham. But he went for 1 million, and everyone was going, you can't get a car park attendant for £1 million now. When you look back on it all that time ago, unbelievable. But I was never one of those fans, and still now never have been, that if there's an English team in the final or even a Scottish team in the final against someone, I just want them to win against foreign opponents. And I remember watching that game. I think was it the year after that? I know they got knocked out by CSK Sofia. Maybe I think it might have been the year Villa won it when Peter Whiff scored the winning goal. But yeah, I always support English teams in Europe when it was proper Europe. The top of the league went in the European Cup, the Cup Winners' Cup went in, and you had a couple in the UEFA Cup. Now, anybody gets in the European Cup, or as they call it, the Champions League. It's not a proper league anymore. It's the money-making scheme to get big teams richer, isn't it? That's all it is.
Just checking with you to make sure you've not been drinking this evening. But so if it was Arsenal versus Madrid Champions League final, you'd be cheering for Arsenal.
Yeah, I like the Arsenal team. I don't like some of their YouTube channels, and I don't like some of their TV channels. I think some of them want Arsenal to lose, and no matter how bad your team plays, you don't want them to lose just to get views. It's not the way it should go for me. Football, true old football fan. Well, I think what people forget now is most people, we're still in a cost of living crisis, and the people that go away and watch these games go away, go miles. Some people have to stay over. Some people have to work all week just to get the money to go for a game of football. When you put that shirt on, get out there and try to win for your team. And some of these YouTube channels, I think they'd rather want views rather than their team win, and they want controversy.
Great
and it's
point.
not good for the fans to pay the money week in, week out to go, what make football.
Hats off to all the fans out there. I mean, as you know, Duggy, I live in Leicestershire, small town, Melton Mowbray, famous for pork pies, cheese, and beer. And if I take one of my lads to watch West Ham at the Silent Bowl, what are you looking at? 150 quid. So that's
my boy got a ticket last week for the not last week before, for the Fulham game. 16 quid. It was a bit higher opposite the tunnel, but he just said that it was like a mortuary. He said there just was not any banter there, and it's not somewhere I like to come with football. I like tight little grounds, like the Leeds grounds, like the Ipswich grounds, like the Forest grounds, like Everton, who unfortunately very soon will get what it's like to suddenly go corporate.
Yeah, absolutely,
will all change.
We'll come onto your team at the end. Moving on from the good, who should be doing good, but he's actually doing bad right now. So let's have a look at Man United. The jewel of the Premiership, or were the jewel of the Premiership. I don't know what they are right now, but if you spoke to any Man United fan, they're not happy. They're spitting feathers. There was a sign of hope with Ratcliffe coming in, but I heard that things may be taking a turn for the worse. But they managed to sign up Amorim as a manager. Great manager, great pedigree, done really well at Sporting Lisbon. Good friend of mine, who's Portuguese, good fan of Sporting Lisbon, said he'll be missed. And he just said that Man United fans have just got to be patient, that Amorim will come good. But what's your thoughts on Man United at the moment?
I've got to be honest, my eldest son supports Man United. And so I always look for him, And if you look what they've got 26 goals, 27 goals scored, 32 against. But obviously the defence, but they're only on 26 points. I mean, if you look the other week, they had a good result against Liverpool, and they had a good result against Arsenal. But it seems to be when they have to go looking for a win where they're having their problems, and when they're defending like they did against the other two teams, they're doing well. But I think this runs deep. deep going back a little bit. I think there was a lot of players and a lot of egos. I think Rashford has caused a lot of issues around the club.
Yeah.
And I've not got a clue what he's done coming in. What's his name? Jim Radcliffe, is it? Because he seems to have knocked all the bonuses for the stewards. He's got rid of people, run the car park. They're all people that's there. They've been there for years. The players know them. The players see them every day, and he's caused a really
corporate,
toxic
mate.
atmosphere.
It's corporate. That's what corporate does. Corporate comes in, and what they do is they start looking at all the low expenditure and go, right, what are we doing this for? Right, line through that, cut back on that, and that's what you see in a big company, let alone in a football club, which is basically a big company. And you mentioned something really interesting about Rashford, and all the drama that he brings at the moment with at Man United, but it doesn't look like no one wants him. His wage bill is high. I understand today that Barcelona sort of step back, but we also know it's all part of negotiations. At the end of the day, you don't accept the first offer. But now there has been some rumours that Rashford, if he doesn't sign for anyone, that he might get offered to West Ham. Would you want him there?
No, I mean I got told that we would pay 75 grand of his wages. Man United would pay the other 275. It's just a disgrace, mate. Like I went on to you earlier on, it's about a cost of living crisis. But it's not just him. If you go back to when the Glazers took over and they took out a loan to buy the club, and they're taking thousands, millions out the club week in, week out. And I remember all the Man United fans started to wear the yellow and the green T-shirt. I think it was Newton Heath, their original, what they was called. But if you look, just go back to the Ten Hag. And I'm not just blaming Ten Hag, because I think this has been coming really since Ferguson went. But if you look at who Ten Hag bought, Ten Hag went back and started raiding the Dutch league, and he started paying a lot of money for players that no one else wanted. No one bid for Anthony. No one was bidding for anyone else who was coming in. It didn't make no sense. Why wasn't anyone else bidding for him? If they were that good, then other teams would have come in at some point. But he, even when they was going to get rid of him, he should have gone, in my opinion, when he won the FA Cup, because he could have gone with his head held high rather than waiting, got sacked, got loads of money. He bought this Xerxes, didn't he? I think, who's being made a scapegoat. I don't think he's number 9. I think he could make a good 10. And the young lad, Oyland, up front, I think he's got plenty of pace, a good player, but he can't do it on his own. Going back to what I was talking about with Chris Wood, the new age centre forward needs the ball played to feet. We get these inverted wingers that come in. Man United got off. I went to a cup final in '77. Watched Man United Liverpool, and Man United had Steve Coppell on the right and Gordon Hill on the left. And they were a great pair of wingers. And I do like a lot of clubs to have your old-fashioned wingers to get the ball over for the likes of Chris Wood, Mark Hughes, whoever you want, Cantona, Brian McClare, to get the ball in. I don't understand, all the ball being played to feet. If you've got the fancy football and you're quick enough, you can have the ball, a bit like Ollie Watkins likes the ball played to feet and turn quickly. Sure. But I think this is deep problems at Man United that a lot of us don't know about. And mate, believe it or not, they're going to be in a relegation fight. It only takes I think Southampton have gone, but if you look at Ipswich, Wolves, Palace, West Ham, Spurs, Man U, Everton, I think there's another 2 out of them who's going to go. And if you keep going on a bad run, it's easy to get drawn into a relegation fight.
I mean, you like Evertonian fans. I know you mentioned several times. I've got no axe to grind with them, but they're going to be fine because they've got a winner as a manager now, haven't they? So I
hope so. The only thing is he won't bother with the youth. And I've told you before, I don't even think a lot of it is the manager's fault. Actually, the average lifetime of a Premier League manager is something like 720 days, which if you work it out, it's just over 2 years. And they can't bring you through. They can't wait. They want to buy it. They want to get someone in there to keep them in there. Keep the big money. Big signings come in on big money. Stops the youth progressing. All the youth goes out. They use a lot of confidence. They use a lot love they had for the game, because they know they're never going to come through, as like what happened at West Ham.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's really, really toxic as a club, as a whole at the moment, Man United. And the goalkeeper, well, I won't have him in me. It's a knockout team. I think he's hopeless. And I know, absolutely hopeless.
Would you
Worse
have
than De
him,
Gea. Why they ever got rid of De Gea is beyond.
would you have him as an assistant during the day to help you do your job?
No, I won't. Because if I threw him something, he'd drop it. There's no way I would have. No, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but hard job, goalkeepers. I do think that mistakes are highlighted in certain positions. Like your centre backs and you're a goalkeeper is even worse. And I do think forwards they don't time the ball, they miscontrol it, and it don't get picked up. So it is worse for a goalkeeper. But I think if you're going to bring
100%.
someone in, I just can't help it, mate. I remember Gary Neville's the start of last year said who's going to be one to watch, who's going to improve your team, and he said Onana. And I don't know what rose-tinted glasses he had on, but for me, he is definitely not someone that I've trusted a bit.
Just touching on your topic about the about goalkeepers, 100%. If a striker misplaces a pass or doesn't quite finish, it's nothing compared to a goalkeeper. My one of my lads played as a goalkeeper up to, I think it was about up to the age of 9 or 10. And then he switched to rugby. There's a reason he switched to rugby as well. And there was a game that they were playing where the opposition were just basically taking the piss. They were losing about 8-0, and the two forwards were just passing the ball. My son would run to one of them, and then they'll pass it to the other one. They'll run to the others, and they were just basically bad. And their manager wouldn't do anything. Where normally, if you're a decent coach and you were absolutely annihilating the other team, you may make some decisions to say, right, listen, you've got to have 10 touches before anyone can score the goal, or put the strikers in defence or something. My son lost it at one point and started throwing punches at both these strikers, which is why I took him out and switched him to rugby, more suited for his physique and his side. But every time he made a mistake, let alone, no one said nothing to me, but I knew I was probably the worst person to criticise him, as you can guess, Duggy, knowing me, yeah. But he's not the Onana's not the ideal goalkeeper. But what about just touching on the manager though, because obviously West Ham are in for Amorim. But what's
mate? If you look at Ruben Amorim, he likes to play. He's free at the back and he's free up front. He does the 3-4-3, but it works in some leagues and it don't work in others. If you look, he bought the Coventry striker, didn't he? To Sporting, I think who's now worth about 80 million. His name is beyond me at the moment.
Something like
but
that.
He's come in, mate. He has come into a split dressing room, supposedly into 3 different groups. And I would banish Rashford from the club completely. Keep him away. You see him warming up with a couple of people in a top on the pitch the other day, and they had the 2 young lads who was in the squad warming up on their own. Like, what is Rashford doing here if you ain't going to play him?
I would allow that. I would allow it on my team. You know that old saying, bad apple. Yep. Well, someone didn't just make it up. It actually fucking makes sense. Yep. So if he's infecting everyone else, if I was the manager, I'd have him out. I'd have him out. If he wants to train, I'd have him training out of hours or in the park or somewhere. Wouldn't have him training with the rest of the players because it rubs off.
Mate, if he's getting points, right, like he did, playing a defensive formation, like he did against Liverpool, like he did against Arsenal, and, got a result, which was their result, because most teams thought that Man United were going to get beaten, like they did the season before last, when I think Salah got 3, they got beat 5-0. Which I had a bet that they would lose by more than 5. And then I think, me personally, I'd go, right, listen, if I was the owner, which I'm not, or owners, listen, you've got 2 years. We want you to build a team. We want you to bring some youth through. So, look, why don't you just get us safety, end up mid-table? Yeah, is it good enough for Man United? Why not? Why not? We were told the Super 6, who wanted to go away in the Super League a few years ago. What has City done this year? You know what I mean? All right, you got Liverpool up there, you got Forest there. Chelsea have been iffy. Newcastle have had a decent season, although they had a bad result against a great Bournemouth side. Young Cliver, I thought, was literally fantastic. But sometimes I think when you're in what you would call a fight, I do think round about, I've looked at it, I reckon between 36 to 38 points this season will be enough. West Ham went down with 42 points. I heard someone say Palace went down with 45. I don't believe that. I thought we was the worst on 42. But and just make it a season where you're gonna, get some team spirit in there, get back there. I know it's not good what Man United fans want to hear, but unfortunately, I think he has come into a poison chalice. He didn't want the job till next season, Amorim, and he went, "No, I'll take the job next season." And they went, "No, if you want it, you got to come now." Yeah, so they paid the 17 million compensation, which West Ham wouldn't do, and we ended up with Lopetegui. Let's hope Amorim lasts longer than what Lopetegui did.
Yeah. Well, moving swiftly on. So we've had the good, the bad, and now we got the ugly, which is Spurs.
It's not a picture of me up there, Tony, is it? Willie Ugly?
Not you, mate. Not you. But yeah, I mean, I quite like Postecoglou, whatever his name is, if I've got it right. So please forgive me, Spurs fans. But I quite like his offensive style, like we all do. But obviously, he can't. Spurs can't defend for shit, unfortunately. But what's your thoughts on their play at the moment, Duggy? Have you watched any of the games?
24 points. 24 points for Spurs, and they literally ripped West Ham a new one. Half time they moved. What's his name? I can't think of his name in the middle.
Papa. I know who you mean. Yeah, great player, very strong and aggressive.
Kuleveski, isn't it? Yeah, and they moved him in the middle, and he was brilliant. And he spread the city. He got a great goal as well in the weekend. But if you look at Spurs, they've scored 45 goals, right, more than anyone else, right, in the league in their game so far. But they've conceded for 35, and they're on 24 points.
So Spurs have scored more goals than the rest of the teams.
Yeah, they're the biggest goal scorers in the Premier League at the moment on 45.
Wow.
Now, if you said to me, would I have took Bruno Amorim, the club? Sorry, not Bruno Amorim. Yes, I would have took Amorim, by the way. But Postecoglou, I just like him as a person, mate. He goes on. He don't let the commentators give him any shit. When they try to wind him up, he sort of says it as it is.
Yeah.
But, mate, I've got to say, I like their football. But if you look at it, Son is 2-3 years older. I mean, Daniel Levy pulled Bayern Munich's pants down getting 100 million for Harry Kane a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And, say Son's a lot older. That Johnston is a good player, and Kuleveski, as we just said.
Him. Great player.
But they've picked up a lot of injuries.
Son there as well.
They have got a lot of injuries, Spurs. But they do play the high line. And if you're going to play the high line, I call it clock ball, long diagonal to a straight run, which Salah and Sane used to do. And if the players are a lot quicker than you, they're going to get by and they're going to score. So I really do hope that he gets. I've got a lot of friends who are Spurs fans. One in particular lives up in Lorette de Mar, and he calls him Ange, and he said they don't want him to go. Like I don't. I think he brings a lot to the game. Will he get time? I don't think Mr. Levy will. I think Mr. Levy, before he's a football chairman, is a businessman. He's done a great job with the stadium. It's an all-purpose stadium. Yeah, done for lots of different things. Most players still say they prefer the Emirates as a better stadium. But will he get the time? Would you reckon? I don't think he will. I thought he might have gone after the weekend, if I'm honest with you.
Why don't he just get a defensive coaching? Maybe
because it's not his style, is it? Why don't he just drop 10 yards? Why don't he drop 10 yards and don't play on the halfway line?
I know, but I'd always think, if you're a progressive coach like him, and it's all about offense, because offense is, but if you got your offense right, you don't have to worry about your attack as much. But I knew you get these set play coaches and so on. Why didn't you just get a Stuart Pearson or someone who's played in that position and really put their arm around those defenders and say, right, let's get that winning mentality back again. As much as it's about scoring goals, it's obviously not letting them in as well.
I think
it was Moyes who said that.
I think Spurs have got more chance of staying up than what Man United has, because I don't think the squad is deeply fractured like the Man United squad. And I do think Spurs have come good. I mean, if you think this stupid playing out with the goalkeeper, suddenly you've got to play football. I don't know how many goals Foster has given away this year, and I don't think he's one of the better goalkeepers in the league. I just pick it up, roll it, throw it. You don't have to muck around, especially with teams that do play a high press. They got caught a few times, didn't they? Unfortunately, at the moment, when goalkeepers have come through in the last 20 years, when they've been taught, when they've been coming through, they've not been take the ball, do, kick ups, go sprinting out, become a sweeper for us. They weren't taught that. Maybe the next generation. But people say it's what's the name's fault? Guardiola's fault. I don't think it is, because I don't know what's going on with City all of a sudden, because they're another one that's for another time. But they've lost all their confidence.
But if you're if you're on a losing streak, who cares how you win? When you're losing, it's okay if you win and losing. You're winning some games and you're losing some games. And being West Ham, we all want that pretty wet football. We don't want moist ball. But when you're as bad as Spurs are at the moment in the way that they're losing a lot of games, maybe they want to have a look at changing their tactics.
Yeah, they've got a lot of injuries though.
They have
got a lot of injuries, But mate, I've got to be honest, I was quite shocked when I looked at the table, because I didn't think they was that far down, if I'm honest with you. And there's not a lot in it. One win can get you away. And if you look at the next 3 or 4 games, the unfortunate part is he will have to change his tactics, and he will have to go against the way he wants to play.
Yeah. And once you get the confidence back of the players, and then you can sort of step by step make some changes. But yeah, they're just below us at the moment, and we're bad. So and they're ugly at the moment. So
who do you think will go down this season?
So I definitely think it's Southampton, because they're on 6 points, and that's where do they go? You need 40 points. I don't know where they're going to go for points at the moment. I've got a lot of because I'm based where I am. I've got a lot of people I know are Leicester supporters, and they've got some big issues in their club. And I'm going to get some of them are going to come on to a future show. So one of the future shows, we're actually going to have some Leicester fans on to get their take on it, and they've said that it's not just it's the team, it's the manager, but it's the club. There's issues in the club as well, like it is with many clubs right now. And then I think the rest of it's just a gamble. I quite like Ipswich. They do have the thing is they win and they lose.
Great ground. Yeah, I like the ground up at Ipswich.
Yeah,
nice.
You got the best manager in the world at Everton. So they may stay up. And I'm not talking about. Actually, got the best assistant coach, or one of the best assistant coaches at Everton, which is Irvine. Is it Irvine? He's turned up there, and so who knows? Who knows who the other team's going to be? What's your thoughts, Duggy, at this stage?
Oh, mate, I hate clubs coming up and going back down. I know they get the parachute payment, but what fantastic fans. Mate, I told you about me. It's all about the fans, and I just, Southampton fans, they fill the ground up week in, week out, hoping for a win. A bit like when Luton went down last year and they went down against West Ham, and the West Ham fans all stayed behind and clapped the Luton fans, didn't they? And clapped the Luton team off the pitch. So I would love at least one of them to stay up. So probably the best chance is going to be Ipswich, I think.
Right, yeah.
I don't think they've got no money, Leicester. I think once the dad had the
that's
cash
the
in
issue. Financial issues. They can't buy any players, and but then again, we'll get the Leicester fans on and get their take up on it. Well, with a lot of us, especially our generation, I say my generation, or definitely your generation, Duggy, have seen that film Good, Bad and Ugly, and it sort of ends there. But if you go to the very end and the credits, it's the good, the bad, the ugly, and the goddamn liar, which takes us on to the last team we want to talk about. Is this pile of shit. And what goes on there? I mean, just the last two. Just obviously we got the transfer window open now in January, and it's just rotten. It just seems like to be so many red herrings and so many names being bantered. I think we've been linked to over 100 players in the January transfer window, which is nonsense. Even Sky the other day said that we put a bid in for John Duran at Villa, but none of us believe it. It just seems to be a lot of rumours. But I'm happy Potter's here. I've got to say that. Loppy was out, so I'll give you my take on West Ham right now. Loppy was a disaster. We all wanted something. We all needed something to. We all needed something better than Moyes. Moyes was. We thank David Moyes for what he did do. However, his football was very unattractive. He just aggravated the fans, and he needed to go. He should have gone after we won the cup. But so when Lopetegui came along, we were all expecting someone. We all expected the club to have a turnaround, or at least some fight, get some fight back. But Lupi turned out to be an imposter. I can't believe he got the success that he did at Seville, but that's it. He didn't get success anywhere else. And again, my friend over in Portugal, Manuel, who's a Sporting Lisbon fan, he already told me before. He said, "You're going to have trouble with Lopetegui. He's not a good manager, and he didn't do that much at their club either." So I'm happy Potter's there, but the problem we've always going to have is our ownership and Sullivan. I mean, what's your thoughts, Duggy, on our season so far?
Who's the owner when we've been the most successful position we've had in the Premier League?
It's probably this fucker.
What owner has brought us a cup in the last 43 years?
This Oompa Loompa. Actually, let me ask you a question. Are you taller than him, Duggy?
I'm 4'8".
All right. So
I'm sitting on the yellow pages at the moment, about 6 yellow pages.
All
For
right,
you people that are old enough, it's got all phone numbers of businesses.
I think
look, mate, I don't know what it's like to run a football club. I don't know what it's like to run a football club, because now you haven't got, when I went to football, 1967 was my first game. We lost 6-1 to Man United. Most footballers who retired aspired to own a pub when they finished their career. They all got a testimonial if they did 10 years. And that was their biggest payday. Now, I've got Rashford, 350,000 a week. The average person in the Premier League's on around about 8. They rent it's 80,000, the average. So look what they can buy compared to most people. You've got all the old people at the moment moaning they didn't get 200 quid a month, or the one payoff of 200 quid. A warm weather payment, and yet you got these people on 80,000 a week. Whether they play or they're not. And the problem you have now, the minute they don't want to play, they think, excuse my language, like I won't say the word, but they think, right, I'll just down tools. I won't play. I'm still going to get my money. And I look to go off. The lad we're trying to sign from Lille, his name there, Jonathan someone, he's on 37,000 euros, in the French league, whatever the French league is called. He's going to want to come over here, get a big signing on fee at some point, and get big dosh. And unfortunately, Sky Football ruined the Sky itself ruined football, and the Premier League absolutely put a dagger in the heart of fans. They couldn't care less now. They're not bothered. They're not bothered. Well, that's where they pay the money. If Sky falls out tomorrow, our teams will go bankrupt.
Yeah, no, that's a show in itself, Dougie. But it is like, I've got to say, West Ham's like a soap opera. It's like EastEnders. It is.
But we don't own anything. What do we own? What do we own? They reckon Chelsea, what they say Chelsea's worth so many billion. What can we be actually worth? We sold our ground, that's gone. And now we're in an athletics track. Listen, like you say, it's another show.
It's another show. So let's come out of this 1 second. Right. So So Any other final comments, Duggy, from your side?
That would be nice. We spoke about Forest, Spurs, and Man United. It would be nice if the next show we can get a Man United, a Spurs, or a Notts Forest fan on it and get them telling us their take on the club.
So yeah, absolutely, or any other club. So whether it's Premiership, further down in the leagues, anyone who'd like to come on the show, a future show, to talk about their club, please drop us an email on cowboysandindian619@gmail.com. Sorry for the really long email address, but that was the only one that was available. And yeah, and anyone who wants to leave a comment, please do. Really do appreciate any comments. Please hit the like. I can't stress it enough. We need subscribers. My hat goes out to any football channel, goes out to any YouTuber as well, because this is definitely not an easy thing to do. And you need subscribers. Certainly, our first target is to get 1,000, so we can upgrade the software and so on and so on. So please do hit the subscribers, share with your mates, and it's not for more yellow pages to make Duggy any taller. And just reiterate a shout out to all that have inspired us. I mean, there's some great football channels out there, so many to mention. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in today's show. And please, again, subscribe, and then you'll get a reminder for the next one. And hopefully, our dear friend Stuart the biker will be on. There you go. Cheers.